Two candidates in the Democratic primary race, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, have seen unwavering levels of support since they started their efforts to become the party's nominee. And as the field continues to pare down, Biden's been able to maintain a consistent advantage over every other candidate, to include Sanders. At the end of last month, Biden held a nearly 13-point lead over the senator, 28 to 15.7. That's according to the Real Clear Politics national polling average. And he continues to hold the lead despite being faced with constant questions over many things, including his son's role with the Ukrainian energy company.
All this begs the question, can anything or anyone knock Biden off of his pole position? So joining us now via Skype to weigh in on this is Emma Vigeland. She's the correspondent for The Young Turks. Emma, thank you so much for being here.
Great friend of the show.
Yes, thank you for having me, guys.
Of course. Okay, so you've been out there and actually talked to a lot of these voters. You've been to a lot of these events. It seemed, if you were just an online person, you would say, how is this possible? Nobody supports Joe Biden. Every day, every time a poll comes out, he sits up at the top. He actually just went up in the morning consult poll by 3 points nationally in this election. I mean, is he Teflon? Is it possible to knock him off of his perch?
So I guess I have a different perspective on the polling. I do believe that right now there are a lot of voters who just frankly are not paying that much attention. And I've talked to people who are just like, I'm waiting for the field to whittle down. There's too many. I'm overwhelmed. People who are not completely ingrained in this process are not paying as much attention. And I think the national polling is going to dip once he basically sees some sort of a defeat, I would say, or not so great showing in Iowa and New Hampshire. Now, I think he's not going to win either of those states, and there have been reports that his campaign is basically conceding and just trying to shift their focus to South Carolina. But then what is his next sure thing? Because then you have Super Tuesday coming up. That's going to be huge. And I think the only way to get him off of that national, atop the national perch of polling, I guess, is to shake the illusion that he is the best candidate to defeat Trump. That is what his entire campaign is resting on. He's even behaving in a Trumpian way, going after activists, people that are challenging him, regular folks at his events. It's actually kind of disturbing to me, because it shows that he has nothing but contempt for not just the left, but people that want to challenge him. He doesn't feel he needs to win their votes over. And for, I would say, a lot of older voters who are perplexed by and frustrated by this insurgent left, that they just want politics to return to the way it was, and have old school politicians, old school Democrats, they might say, yeah, but they're only a fraction of the voters. It hinges on shaking that illusion that he is the only candidate that can defeat Trump, one. Two, shaking the illusion that his path to the nomination is inevitable, which will come when he doesn't have great showings, in my estimation, in my guess, in Iowa and New Hampshire. And thirdly, young people turning out so that they can turn out the older voters who are going to come out for Joe Biden, because they just love how arrogant and boisterous she is to the is that a word, to the voters that come to his events.
Well, I mean, that is interesting. Here's kind of my theory of how this all unfolded. I mean, Biden looked everybody thought Biden's support was very soft at the beginning, right? There was this idea he'd be easily knocked off his perch. In first debate, Kamala Harris comes out with that pre-planned attack that on the night of really landed and really did hit him in the polls, and she came up a little bit. And then because she didn't follow through, and because she had the T-shirts ready to sell and the Instagram posts ready to go and all of that, it ended up looking disingenuous, backfiring on her, and Biden returns to his pole position. No one has effectively landed a blow on him since then. It's like everybody's basically either given up that they can hurt him, or they're waiting for someone else to do it, or some media event, or for it to be just so manifestly obvious that he would not be an effective candidate to take on Trump, that they've just kind of declined to really try to go after him.
Yeah, I think that that's a good point. And also, I would say that it's been clearly the campaign strategies of both Sanders and Warren to not respond, or not to attack unless they are attacked first. And they have to be attacked pretty aggressively for them even to respond. I mean, this was an issue, I think, in 2016 with Bernie Sanders, where he was the complete underdog. And so he, I think, strategically should have attacked Hillary Clinton even more, although her campaign would say that he was actually extremely cruel to her, which is a reality that doesn't exist. But I think it's different for him now, since he is a front runner. He does not feel the need to go negative. And for a lot of when you look at some of the polling and the way that some voters react to negative messaging, a lot of times it doesn't work. A lot of times just making your case is the best way to stay relevant. And I think Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren as well have stayed away from negative ads or negative attacks on Joe Biden. They're kind of waiting for him to implode. And Buttigieg, the other person in that top four or whatever, he's ideologically aligned with Biden now. I mean, who knows what he actually believes, but this is how he's running. So he's not going to go after Biden either. So I think it's a good point that there's no one really around to lay blows on him, and that might hurt him. But I think we also, as media members, overestimate sometimes how much debates have an impact on regular people.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right, Emma, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have more Rising for you right after this.